Hey guys, it's Ryan. Just wanted to help spread some Christmas cheer this year. I know 2020 and has been extremely hard on many people, especially for you guys and the residents at the Little Sisters of the Poor's home. Um, so I just wanted to spread a little Christmas cheer and to read a really interesting story called "The Miraculous Staircase" by Arthur Gordon. So I'll go ahead and start reading this awesome story, and hopefully you guys will think it's awesome as well. So, The Miraculous Staircase by Arthur Gordon. A haunting Christmas legend passed down through the years to all those who are believers. On that cool December morning in 1878, sunlight lay like an amber rug across the dusty streets and adobe houses of Santa Fe. It glinted on the bright tile roof of the almost completed chapel of Our Lady of Light and on the nearby windows of the convent school run by the Sisters of Loretto. Inside the convent, Mother Superior looked up from her packing as a tap came at her door. "It's another carpenter, Reverend Mother," said Sister Frances Louise, her round face apologetic. "I told him that you're leaving right away, that you haven't had time to see him about this. Haven't had time to see him, but he says—" "I know what he says," Mother Magdalene said, going on resolutely with her packing. "That he's heard about our problem with the new chapel. That he's the best carpenter in all of New Mexico, and that he can build us a staircase to the choir loft, despite the fact that the brilliant architect in Paris, who drew the plans, failed to leave any space for one. And despite the fact that 5 master carpenters have already tried and failed." "You're quite right, sister. I don't have time to listen to that story again." "But he seems such a nice man," said Sister Frances Louise wistfully. "And he's out here with his burro, and I'm sure," said Mother Magdalene with a smile, "that he's a charming man and that his burro is a charming donkey. But there's sickness down at the Santo Domingo Pueblo, and it may be cholera. Sister Mary Helen and I are the only ones here who've had cholera, so we have to go. And we have to stay and run the school. That's that." Then she called, Manuela. A young Indian girl of 12 or 13, black-haired and smiling, came in quietly on moccasin feet. She was mute. She could hear and understand, but the sisters had been unable to teach her to speak. The Mother Superior spoke to her gently. "Take my things down to the wagon, child. I'll be right there." And to Sister Frances Louise, "You'd better tell your carpenter friend to come back in 2 or 3 weeks. I'll see him then." "2 or 3 weeks? Surely you'll be home for Christmas." If it's the Lord's will, sister, I hope so." In the streets beyond the waiting wagon, Mother Magdalene could see the carpenter, a bearded man, strongly built and taller than most Mexicans, with dark eyes and a smiling, wind-burned face. Beside him, laden with tools and scraps of lumber, a small gray burro stood patiently. Manuela was stoking its nose, glancing shyly at its owner. "You'd better explain," said Mother Superior, "that the child can hear him, but can't speak." Goodbyes were quick, the best kind when you leave the place you love. Southwest, then, along the dusty trail, the mountains purple with shadow, the Rio Grande a ribbon of green far off to the right. The pace was slow, but Mother Magdalene and Sister Helen amused themselves by singing songs and telling Christmas stories as the sun marched up and down the sky. And their leathery driver listened and nodded. 2 days of this brought 2 days of this brought them to Santo Domingo Pueblo, where the sickness was not cholera after all, but measles, almost as deadly in an Indian village. And so they stayed, helping the harassed Father Sebastian, visiting the dark adobe hovels where feverish brown children tossed and fierce Indian dogs showed their teeth. At night they were born weary, but sometimes Mother Magdalene found time to talk to Father Sebastian about her plans for the dedication of the new chapel. It will be in April. The Archbishop himself would be there, and it might have been dedicated sooner were it not for this incredible business of choir loft with no means of access. Unless it were a ladder. I told Bishop, said Mother Magdalene, that it would be a mistake to have the plans drawn in Paris. If something went wrong, what could we do? But he wanted our chapel in Santa Fe patterned after the Sante chapel in Paris. And who am I to argue with Bishop Lamy? So the talented Monsieur Molly designs a beautiful choir loft high up under the rose window, and no way to get to it. Perhaps, sighed Father Sebastian, he had in mind a heavenly choir, the kind with wings. It's not funny, said Mother Magdalene a bit sharply. I've prayed and prayed, but apparently there's no solution at all. There's just isn't room on the chapel floor for the supports such staircase needs. The days passed, and with each one Christmas drew closer. Twice, horsemen on their way from Santa Fe to Albuquerque brought letters from Sister Frances Louise. All was well at the convent, but Mother Magdalene frowned over certain paragraphs. The children are getting ready for Christmas, Sister Frances Louise wrote in her first letter. Our little Manuela and the carpenter have become great friends. It's amazing how much he seems to know about us all. And what, thought Mother Magdalene, is the carpenter still doing there? The second letter also mentioned the carpenter. Early every morning he comes with another load of lumber, and every night he goes away. When we ask him by what authority he does these things, he smiles and says nothing. We have tried to pay him for his work, but he will accept no pay. Work? What work? Mother Magdalene wrinkled up her nose in exasperation. Had the soft-hearted Sister Frances Louise given the man permission to putter around in the new chapel? With firm and disapproving hand, the Mother Superior wrote a note ordering an end to all unauthorized activities. She gave it to an Indian pottery maker. She gave it to an Indian pottery maker on his way to Santa Fe. But that night the first snow fell, so thick and heavy that the Indian turned back. Next day at noon the sun shone again on a world glittering with diamonds. But Mother Magdalene knew that another snowfall might make it impossible for her to be home for Christmas. By now the sickness at Santo Domingo was subsiding, and so that afternoon they began the long road back. The snow did come, making their slow progress even slower. It was late on Christmas Eve, close to midnight, when the tired horses plodded up to the convent door, but lamps still burned. Manuela flew down the steps, Sister Frances Louise close behind her. And chilled and weary though she was, Mother Magdalene sensed instantly an excitement, an electricity in the air that she could not understand. Nor did she understand it when they led her, still in her heavy wraps, down the corridor into the new and yet unused chapel, where a few candles are burned. Look, Reverend Mother, breathed Sister Frances Louise. Look! Like a curl of smoke, the staircase rose before them, and unsubstantial as a dream. Its base was on the chapel floor. Its top rested against the choir loft. Nothing else supported it. It seemed to float on air. There were no banisters. 2 complete spirals it made, the polished wood gleaming softly in the candlelight. 33 steps, whispered Frances Louise, one for each year in the life of our Lord. Mother Magdalene moved forward like a woman in a trance. She put her foot on the first step, then on the second, then on the third. There was not a tremor. She looked down, bewildered, at Manuela's ecstatic, upturned face. But it's impossible. There wasn't enough time. He finished it yesterday, the sister said. He didn't come today. No one has seen him anywhere in Santa Fe. He's gone. The sister shook her head. But now Manuela pushed forward, nodding emphatically. Her mouth opened. She took a deep, shuddering breath. She made a sound that was like a gasp in the stillness. The nun stared at her, transfixed. She tried again. This time it was a syllable, followed by another. Joe, si. She clutched. She clutched the Mother Superior's arm and repeated the first word she had spoken, Jose. Sister Frances Louise crossed herself. Mother Magdalene felt her heart contract. Jose, the Spanish word for Joseph. Joseph, the carpenter. Joseph, the master woodworker of Jose. Manuel's dark eyes were full of tears. Jose. Silence then in the shadowy chapel. No one moved. Far away across the snow-silvered town, Mother Magdalene heard a bell tolling midnight. She came down the stairs and took Manuela's hand. She felt uplifted by a great urge of wonder and gratitude and compassion and love. And she knew what it was. It was the spirit of Christmas, and it was upon them. So, you may see it yourself in Santa Fe today. It stands as it stood with the chapel that was dedicated almost 90 years ago, except for the banister, which was added later. Tourists to this day stare and they marvel at it. Architects shake their heads and they murmur that it was impossible to build a staircase like this. No one knows the identity of the designer of the staircase or the builder. All the sisters know is that the problem to their choir issue was fixed. A stranger came and fixed it and then left. That's all anyone knows about how this staircase was built. It's true. There are 33 steps, and there are no central supports to the staircase. There are no nails in the staircases, only wooden pegs. The curved stringers are put together with exquisite precision. The wood is spliced into 7 places on the inside and 9 on the outside. The wood is said to have a hard fir variety non-existent to New Mexico. So this is the type of wood that didn't come from New Mexico. So I don't know where it came from. The school accounts, there's no record of any payment that was ever made for the staircase. So this is a true story. At least the staircase is it's true that they don't know how it was, who did it and how it came to be. So it's very much true. This is a miraculous staircase in this chapel in Santa Fe. I've been there myself, and it's very interesting. It's certainly, when you look at it, it seems almost impossible if there's no support system for the staircase, and its design is flawless. So anyway, that's just a little story about true events that happened in this chapel, and it is true that this is a miraculous staircase. Anyway, again, I'm Ryan, and I hope you enjoyed this short story, and I hope I didn't butcher it enough for you guys to not enjoy it. So anyway, happy Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones, and here's to 2021, to better days, and to finally getting this pandemic over with, so that we can enjoy seeing our loved ones again. So thank you, God bless, and I hope you guys again have a great Christmas and a really great New Year. So hopefully I can come by the residence soon and spend time with you all. So thank you.